Hebrews 11:3, Bible says, by faith for we understand that the universe was created at the command of God, so that the things that are seen were created from the things unseen. That means for every visible thing that can be seen, whether they be systems, they be patterns, whatever structure might be in the realm, in the physical realm, that final expression, their origin is from the realm of the spirit. And so that means the celestial bodies, they are the architects, while the terrestrial, they are builders. Because in this physical realm, that is where we begin to see, physical monument. We begin to see different structures, patterns, systems, government. We begin to see different things take shape in this realm, but their source of origin is not from this realm, is always from the realm of the spirit. So the celestial bodies, they are architects, meanwhile the terrestrial, they are builders. That means they begin to build things. And so that takes us to the book of Genesis chapter 4. So Cain went out from the God's presence and lived in the land of northeast of Eden. Cain went out from the presence of God and lived in the land of northeast of Eden. And when he did this, eventually the Bible recorded that Cain actually began to build cities. And so we see that he left the presence of God. When he left the presence of God, he left the influences of God, he left the jurisdiction of God, he left, he left a place where he used to be, maybe to receive instruction from God. And it seemed like he went from presence of God to go and establish his own thing, but in that is in theory, but in practical that was not so. He left the presence of God, he went into another presence because the enemy was out there, and so he began to subscribe to the enemy. And what did Cain do? Cain might have thought he was so creative in himself that he came up with so many innovations and advancement during his own time. But the truth of the matter is, there was someone behind it. There was a spiritual force behind this, and that was the devil. The devil all along wanted to create a parallel system so that he can also have dominion as well, but it was kicked out of heaven. And when he was kicked out of heaven, he found a man he could work with, and that man was Cain and his lineage, and he began to give them ideas, and that was how Cain was able to come up with his own city and building this civilization that was outside of God, that does not give reference to God, that does not give reference to light. And so he went from the presence of God and began to execute that which the enemy had planned already. The enemy looked for a man he could partner with on the surface of the earth, and he was able to find one, and that was Cain. He worked with, starting from when he committed the sin by killing the fourth sin, when he sacrificed and was not accepted by God. Then sin came, he killed his brother. The enemy made sure he did everything possible to take him away from the presence of God, so that he can fall into his own presence. And then the enemy began to inspire and do a lot of things. And so for yourself and myself, it is paramount to know that, because a lot of times we give ourselves too much credit for the things we don't have credit, we shouldn't take credit for, because there's when it comes to receiving ideas or visions, there's the spiritual part of it, and then there's the let's say the mental part, the brain power, the creativity that comes. And a lot of times creativity, they don't originate from your mind, they originate from the realm of the spirit. And so there is that dimension of the spiritual forces actually broadcasting ideas, broadcasting visions that we need to be aware of. And then, because ideas are conceived in the realm of the spirit, but they are incubated in the minds of men. Ideas are conceived in the realm of the spirit, but they are incubated in the minds of men. And so the ideas that you think of, they originated from the realm of the spirit. And that's why the Bible says in Habakkuk chapter 2 from verse 1, it said, I will stand on my Torah and see what he will say unto me. And then the Lord said, write the vision and make it plain. The same way you can stand on Torah and receive instruction from God, the enemy can also come and begin to give instruction. And my question for you today is, what vision are you running with for your life? Are they God's vision or the enemy's vision? Because a lot of times we say, oh yeah, these are things I planned for myself. Great, good. But then if they are not based on God, that means they are not based on you. You didn't come up with them. It is the plan of the enemy for your life. And so if you're not with God, there's no middle ground, there's no fence. You're either with God or you're not with God. You're either with God or you are playing into the plans and the purposes of the enemy for your life. And so when we come up with visions, what are you running with? What visions are you running with? What ideas are you running with? What convictions are you running with? Are they based on God, or are they, if they are not based on God, it doesn't matter if you think you are the source of it, that is the enemy's plan for your life. And so whatever is opposite of the plan of God, it is definitely not what fighting over. It's not what running with that vision for your life. And so what sort of visions are you running with in your life at this particular moment? Are they based on God? Remember, the realm of the spirit, the celestial bodies, the architect, they come up with the blueprint for how things should be, and then in the physical realm they begin to find men and women that can actually bring those things into manifestation. The same thing with God. With God as well, he has things he wants to do on the surface of earth, and is looking for men, is looking for women that can intercede, that can administer these resources, these things that God wants to do, and bring them to manifestation, so that the knowledge of the glory of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. And the enemy is also doing the same thing, looking for people to partner with into bringing the world to a place of decadence, into a place of gloom and doom. But then we must subscribe ourselves to God, so that the light of God will shine through us, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed in our lives and through our lives. And if there's one takeaway today, it is ideas don't originate from your mind. They don't just come from your mind. They are incubated in your mind, but they are conceived in the realm of the spirit. So it is important for you and I to trace the source of the ideas, the source of the vision, the source of the revelations that we receive, whether it is from God or not. God bless you.